Good morning and welcome back. It's Amy Bennett with the AM Show. Goodness, it's been a couple days since we got together. I am inside my office today because outside it is rainy. It has been such a rainy weekend. So Memorial Day weekend here in the Carolinas has been wet and soppy. It's we've had some breaks though. So this weekend, Scott was actually in Myrtle Beach. They had bike week there, and so he went to have just extra patrol there. So that's what he was doing. So we kind of were just laying low, if you will. We did some shopping to get some summer stuff for the kids. We what did we do? I did some cleaning. I did that like cleaning, like you don't, things that you like keep saying that you're gonna do but you never do. Like clean the floor of the laundry room. Like how often do you get to do that? Not often. So I did stuff like that. What else did I do? I cooked. So our family has decided to be all gluten-free this summer, and so I had to like clean out the closets and cook some stuff. So, and it's our first full week without school this week. So I had to do some cooking. I cooked some broccoli and cheese soup and some gluten sugar-free cupcakes. And anyway, so, and honestly, what I did was a lot of resting. I watched some Netflix this weekend. Scott wasn't here, and the kids had a lot of like friends here throughout the weekend, and so I just hid in my bedroom and did a lot of resting. So that's part of the reason actually why something on my forehead, I don't know. One of the reasons why I wasn't here yesterday, I tried to increase one of my supplements I take at bedtime that they have me on, and y'all, this one I doubled it from 1 to 2 pills, and it knocked me out. I haven't had that good a sleep. I can't tell you how long. I took it on Saturday night and I was knocked out. I woke up and I felt a little bit like drugged almost. And so I thought maybe, I don't know, it was just a fluke that I was just tired. And so I did it again Sunday night, and y'all, I was barely woke up at like 7 o'clock. I was like, hello, where am I? So anyway, last night I backed it back to 1 because I was like, I don't know if this is good or not. So anyway, I'm awake today, but I am a little bit later because we are out of school, so I don't have to quite wake up as early as I have been. So good morning, Kathy. I'm glad to see you here live. Your son has school till Thursday, so there's a lot. The city beside us, and a lot of the cities around us, they have school until this week. So you're not the only one. Hang in there. Only a couple more days of school. Okay, so was there something else I was going to tell you? I don't think so. I think that was it. So this weekend, one of the things I did wake up early Saturday, even though I slept in Sunday and Monday. I was reading in Nehemiah, and Nehemiah has been something that God has just been continuing to bring back to my mind. So Nehemiah, if you don't know, Nehemiah was in Babylon. He was cupbearer to the king. He heard that the walls were all broken down around the city, and he asked him for resources, and he asked him for time to leave to go help rebuild, and that's what he did. He got the people. He was kind of like I think he ends up being the governor or something. I don't remember the exact title, but he ends up like organizing people to rebuild the wall, and then they have Ezra, I think it's Ezra the priest, who ends up reading God's law. Everybody repents, celebrates, and then rededicates to living for the Lord. So the thing though that caught me, there was one phrase in Nehemiah. Actually, there was a lot. Like I went through and I was highlighting all the different ones, and there's like a lot we could talk about, but we would be here for an hour if I could talk about all of them. One of the things that caught my attention is from Nehemiah 3. Nehemiah 3:28. And so in Nehemiah 3, he is going through so what have they had to do is all the gates had been burned down. I believe it was burned or torn down. And so they were having to go throughout the city, and there were gates all throughout the city. And I'm going to try to show you this map from my Bible. Okay, so see, this this is where the wall was, and then each one of these are gates. And so they were going through all the gates and repairing them, and the wall and the gates. And so he's going through all of them and talking about which gates were rebuilt by who. And then they get to this one part, and it says, verse 28, 3:28, above the horse gate, the priest made repairs, each in front of his own household. House, it doesn't say household, I made that up. House, each in front of his own house. And it says, next to them, Zadok, son of Immer, made repairs opposite his house. And it goes to start explaining all the ones that did it in front of his house. And that just, I don't know, it like arrested me. Like, they were called to rebuild right where they were. There were some people who were called and they went out and they repaired all the different parts of the gate, but there were some that were called right to where they lived. And I think that I thought about that because as I have done this, the Feathers podcast, I think I had some, and I think a lot of people do, they just look at missionaries that are called to foreign missionaries, for like the foreign field as just like Christian rock stars. Like, they are the ones really doing God's work, right? And like, maybe if we get called into missions, like, that's when we're actually doing God's work, and then all of us around are just kind of trying to make it, right? And as I've done the podcast, I've done over 125 episodes now, and as I've talked to women who are living out what God has called them to do, I have just been so convinced, and my mind has changed so much around that we are called to rebuild the wall right where we are. We do not have to go to a foreign mission field to make a difference for the kingdom and to rebuild the wall. And some of us are called right where we are. And I thought about the verse, and I meant to look that up. That's one of the things I meant to look at before we started talking is, it's in the New Testament. I'm sorry, it's probably one of the shuns, Galatians, Ephesians, maybe it might be Corinthians, I can't remember. But it's talking about how God put us in the place where we are. It's not an accident that you are living where you are. And we can make a difference right where we are. It might be that he is calling us to serve our family. But the big work that we might have, we may never have to even leave our city. Some of us have to rebuild the wall right where we are. Some people are called to other places, just like other people were called to rebuild the gates at other places that's not where they lived. Some people are called right in front of their house. And just even this season, I was just thinking of even the season of Feathers. I was thinking of the people who were living right where they are and yet making a difference. I think about Corey Sauker, and the reason I was thinking about Corey Sauker is because somebody just in my Facebook newsfeed posted this video of this woman of Corey, and it was just a random posting, and I was like, oh, like I've actually had that woman on my podcast, and she's amazing. So Corey takes in hospice babies, so babies that are not expected to live long because they have some life-threatening disease or something, and the family releases their rights to the hospitals because they can't or won't or whatever take care of the baby. So she takes these hospice babies in and fosters them, and she's adopted actually I think one, maybe two, and it's incredible. And she's incredible, and she's doing this work right in her home. Like, she's called right just to be a mom, like right in her home to these babies. And that's part of rebuilding the wall and showing God's love to the least of these. And she's just amazing to me. But she didn't have to go to a foreign mission field to do that. She didn't have to go work at an orphanage in Africa, y'all. She just had to make her home available to people and to love them right where they are. I think about even Jackie Drew. At the beginning of this past season, Jackie Drew, right from her own garage, her and her husband are building these, they're called surrender crosses. They're made out of wood, and they're meant for people to there's actually nail their concerns to the cross, and it's just a reminder that God has God is taking care of us and our problems. And she's doing that right from her own house in her own garage. She does not have to go anywhere to make a difference. I think about Jen Schmidt. Jen Schmidt was on this season, and she is all about hospitality. She is bringing, she even talks about hospitality on the go. Like, so being hospitable to people wherever you go. So her son was really into football. They actually thought he was going to get drafted to the NFL just a few weeks ago. He didn't get drafted. I don't even know if I'm using the right words. I don't know anything about the NFL. We're definitely not a sports family. But he's not with the NFL, I'll just put it that way. So anyway, but she was obviously at football games all throughout his youth, and she began to be hospitable to people and bring them in, and she would bring a blanket, and she would bring food, and she would intentionally love people like right where she was. And she didn't have to go anywhere to do that. And so, oh my goodness, I have like more on my list. I could just keep going on. Like it, and these are all, different ways to rebuild the city. And I'm using that loosely. Like, we do not have to go anywhere to rebuild the wall. And I just have to think, like, how, some of us will be called to leave our home and our country and to go minister to people. That's absolutely a thing. I think about just come to mind Jonah right away, right? I think about Paul and all of his missionary journeys. Some people are going to have to go. Some people, though, just like in Nehemiah, it says they made repairs each in front of his own house. Some of us are called right where we are. And so I have to wonder, am I one of those people that are called right where we are? It's kind of ironic. I'm sitting in my office talking to you guys. I'm doing this like right from my own office, But what about you? Are you called to the foreign mission field? Are you called to the foreign mission field? You might be. You might be called to move to a different city, but you might be called right to your own house and doing ministry right from there. It might just be, I know some people that were incredible about whatever neighborhood they lived in. It was like, they had ministered to everybody in their neighborhood. I think that should be all of us. They knew how to make connections with all their neighbors, and they had parties, and they just loved people right where they were. And I'm just challenged, and I'm encouraged and I just want to communicate that some of us are called right to our own house and do the repairs from there. Some of us in different seasons are called to different things. So some of us in our season, if you're a young mom and you've got young kids, like, that's your mission field. I'm not saying that can be the only thing, but some people are just, that can be your mission field. Maybe you're called to homeschool. That could be your calling to rebuild the walls, and you're teaching the next generation about God as you do that. And I just think it's not going to look the same for any of us. And so, what would it look like? So I guess the question, coming back, like, what would it look like for you to rebuild the wall? Where is the wall? Like, I think about, because the wall is like protection, right? And the wall is establishing the kingdom, establishing the kingdom around us. So, like, spiritually, what does that look like now for us to build the wall, to build God's kingdom, to strengthen other believers around us? What would that look like for you? What are you called to be right where you are, and to make a difference right where you are to rebuild the wall? So that's a question that you can take back to the Lord today. It's like, what would it look like for me to build the wall right where I am? If I'm not called, around the world, how am I called right where I am, in front of my house, in my house, to rebuild the wall? So that is some of my thoughts this morning. You could go through, if you want an idea of how you might be called, just listen to Feathers, the podcast. There's all sorts of stories of how God has led his people to make a difference for the kingdom. I'm just always so inspired by them. It's Feathers Tuesday. It's supposed to be a new podcast today. Of course, we're on a break right now, so I guess my heart is really with the podcast this morning, and thinking about thinking about all the ladies that I've had so far. There's so much good stuff. If you're not listening, you can look on our blog, abidingministries.net. You can listen right from there, or the iTunes podcast, or wherever you get your podcast. There's Overcast is an app, Stitcher is an app. You don't have to have an iPhone to listen, and just look up Feathers, Faith, and Flight. So maybe there's somebody new who doesn't listen to the podcast. I would love for you to listen. So encouraging, inspiring to think about how God is leading us, and give us the courage. That's really what it's about, giving us the courage to do that. So, all right, guys. So I'm thinking that this will probably be our new time for the summer. We'll see how it goes. I might back it up just a little bit. My oldest daughter has a new job. It's her first summer job. She's doing some babysitting. And so I've got to get her to her job. She doesn't start till the end of June, so it's going to be a while, so maybe this will work for a little bit. We'll see how it goes. But I am glad that you were here. I think I said good morning to Kathy. The reason you come in late because you live in Texas. Yeah, that's so fun. You're in a different time zone. Northern Missouri. Good morning, Nancy. Marie, good morning. She says good morning. Good morning, guys. Wow, so we have Texas, Missouri, and South Carolina together. And whoever knows, there's a lot of people that listen later on. So hi to everybody. Let me know where you are. I would love to know where you are as you watch. That's really cool. Oh, Kimberly. Hi, Kimberly. She says Kentucky. Oh my gosh, this is so fun. So I've been to St. Louis, Missouri. So I've been to Missouri, and I went to, I went to Kentucky for a conference, and I don't even remember what city it was. That's terrible. Okay, I'm gonna have to look that up. I have been to Kentucky though, and I've been to Texas, I've been to Austin, I've been to San Antonio. Yay, so this is fun. Annette, good morning, Annette. She says she's from Spartanburg, South Carolina, so you were right down the road from us. I've passed through Spartanburg a couple times on my way to Greenville this year, so I have been through your city. Kimberly says Hazard. I think I've actually heard of that, Hazard, Kentucky. I don't think that's where I went though. That really bothers me. I went to a conference, what was his name? It was a pastor who had a conference out there. I'm sorry, I don't want to do this on, you see my brain. This is part of actually the stuff that's going on with my health she told me that my memory, I have something in my head and I can't recall it. Like I know it's in there somewhere and I can't recall it. That's my cortisol being really low, and it's super low in the morning. So, I'll go look it up, or I'll remember it sometime today, and I'll comment back on here when I remember what part of Kentucky I went to. Layton is here. I know Layton is in Florida. Layton has been on the podcast before. So good morning, Layton. I hope it's sunny in Florida like it's supposed to be. Well, it gets rainy in Florida too, right? Debbie is on. Good morning, Debbie. Debbie is here near me in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Maybe I shouldn't have said that and give away your location if you don't want that. Okay. Sorry, Debbie. Okay. Well, good morning, guys. It's so fun to see all of you from all over the United States. So if you are watching late, let us know where you are from, and we'll see how far-reaching this is. This is fun. Okay, and I know maybe I can get Michelle. She's in Australia. She watches sometimes. So this is actually international, guys. International Facebook Live. It's so fun. Okay, well, I am going to get my morning going. That didn't come out right. Get my morning going. Maybe I need some more of my supplements this morning. Okay, all right, I'm going to go. You guys have a wonderful day. See if we can get this short week done. And I hope it's a good one. All right, we're going to see you back tomorrow, guys. Bye.